Aloha, Cupcakes. It occurs to me that I haven't done any of the scroll brush videos. So I did a ton of them with the sword stripers. I almost did one with the dagger striper, but seriously, I can't control that thing. Like, I'll work on it, but it's going to take some time before we do that. So today, let's talk about these guys. What better way for me to start off than by using the dragonflies? Yes, they're synthetic, and yes, they're amazing. Yes, they come in all sizes, all the way down to 3 zeros and all the way up to 5. That's the 5, in case you couldn't tell. All right, let's do this. So I'm going to start with a white panel, which is absolutely freaking atrocious. I don't like painting on white. It's a thing. But I'm going to start with basic scroll technique, which is to hold the brush upright. Unlike what you would do with your normal striping brushes, you want this thing to be completely upright. Sure. And I'm just going to go with a couple basic swipes where I kind of dip the tip all the way down and then pull it out to a thinner line. And so far, this seems to be flowing okay. One of the struggles that I have with this one is always the consistency of paint. So in this instance, there is a little bit of hardener and a lot of reducer in the paint. So it's a lot thinner than you would normally use if you were pinstriping. Not quite drippy, but still kind of drippy. Like, pretty sure that I'm going to get a couple spatters here and there. And all I'm really trying to focus on is just maintaining consistency at the tip of the brush. I'm not really working too hard on design or even functioning, even though that one's a little goofy. And yeah, there was some weightlifting going on all this week. I've been doing things that are up over 300 pounds, so my hands have a little bit of shake to them. That's just how this week is. So try not to let your hands shake. It will not help you. Just trust me on this one. And yeah, I've got all kinds of things that I'm doing to prevent that. But since I'm not working today and I'm actually just shooting this video, I did not do any of those things. There's also an energy drink in me at this point. So yeah, it's just going to be a little extra and that's fine. I'm really just trying to get through this brush. So now that we're there, yeah, this is the dragonfly scrolling brush. And I'm using the number 2 gauge because my number 1 gauge is kind of flared out and kind of goofy and it needs a much longer time in a bath than I really want it to be before I go to try to use it. And then I didn't really want to mess with that number 5 gauge. The thing is just beastly. Like, I feel like that thing uses an entire quart of paint for every line that you draw with it. So I just wasn't in the mood. Now, one of the things with this one is it does have a medium handle length as opposed to some of the other scrolling brushes like a Bobo or something like that that has a very short handle, which gives me a little bit more playroom so that I can pull back just a bit further on the brush while I'm working with it and still maintain that the end of the paintbrush is kind of in that little notch in my index finger. It just gives me a little bit more control for when I do pull out of a line so that it gives that little bit of snap, because these brushes tend to snap a lot more than flop, because those are technical terms. Basically, when you pull back, this thing will pull itself back into a straight position. And some of the other scrolling brushes, what they will do is they will just kind of stay in that curved shape unless they have enough weight on it from the paint. This one, you don't have to do that. And I just realized that I did not punch in on any of these video clips. So you get to see my entire workbench and just how dirty it is. Sorry. No, I'm not. It's my workbench. It's never going to actually be clean. One of the things that I like with this brush is that when it does snap, so when it does that thing where it pulls with a little bit of tension on it. And it gives me a little bit more leeway and it gives me some really thin spots. So it can justify me going and take the back of the brush and just dropping a dot in the midst of these little thin spots. I know. It's just one of those little weird detail-y things that I like doing. It's not practical. Well, maybe it is. I don't know. It depends on how many dots you have to put into a design, because I would prefer it if all of my dots were consistent as opposed to like varying in size and having those weird little divots in them. Side note, if you're putting dots into your paintings, Trust me on this. Now this one, for the longer turns, like for normal pinstriping purposes, I do use this thing a lot for that. And a lot of that just comes down to the fact that when I am striping, especially if I'm not using guidelines, what I do a lot of times is I kind of treat it the way that you would if you were just writing letters. So yes, I'll be working on a symmetrical design, but I'm still moving from left to right while I'm doing so. So I don't typically work in a vertical shape. I tend to work from left to right. And that's just something I've gotten used to over eons of working this way. Also, it's an adaptation so that I'm not painting upside down. Just if you've seen some of the other videos, I do paint upside down quite a bit. That's just something that it's comfortable for me to do, especially post destroying my wrist and my elbows. So that's just an adaptation to something that I did a long time ago and is never, ever going to heal. So don't do it, or do it and get good at it and have fun with it. Whatever. Just be happy about it. It's just paint. No one actually cares what direction you go. No one cares how much angles you have to put on things. No one cares if you have to rotate a panel around while you're working on it. Now, yeah, if you're working on a car, you probably can't flip the car over. Unless you got a rotisserie, then yes, you can. Now, something else with this brush that I really like about it is the size of the handle is proportionate to the size of the bristles. So when you're digging around your paintbrush box and you're like kind of sorting through things, you can kind of feel the difference from one to the other. And you'll notice when you go to actually stripe with it or pick it up before you even palette it out. And like, oh, wrong one. It's a small little detail. And I know that when it comes to like detail brushes and quills, that's pretty common. But when you get to pinstriping brushes, especially when you're dealing with some of the older style brushes, they're all the same handle. So it's a silly little feature, but it is one that I tend to like having. Just makes my life a slight bit easier, especially on those days where it's hot and it's sticky and I'm not even trying to look closely at what I'm doing. I'm just trying to get through the rest of my day, and I just need a brush to get something done quickly. Those moments happen a lot more than I care to admit to. Now, the thing with when you're dealing with scrolling, so you can go back over it a lot easier than you can with pinstriping. Sort of. Some of it, not so much, but you can. So if you notice like weird consistency issues, or you just want one line a tiny bit longer than it is, it's a lot easier to go back and do that. And these brushes, because of that little bit of snap, kind of make it so that when you do it, it matches a little bit easier. So here, right when I lift up, that's the snap I'm talking about. I know I keep saying it and I haven't described it at all. My apologies. It's been one of those days, I guess. So while you're here putting up with this, so every day this month, I've been posting a new video. This is the first one that's actually been a brush review, and I haven't done a brush review in quite a while. And yeah, it's been oodles of fun not doing them because I've been trying to work on just doing all these other things. And in the meantime of me not doing the brush reviews, I've managed to collect about 30 more brushes. So I guess I need to get back to work on these. So as always, if you have suggestions for other brushes or other types of brushes, or just you want to have me revisit some of the brushes that I've already done, let me know in the comments so I know what I'm looking for, and give me some ideas as to what it is you didn't understand about the brush, or something that you want to see if I can get it to do it. Is it something that the brush can or cannot do? I don't know. Whatever it is that you want to know, let me know. I will try to figure it out. I by no means consider myself to be an expert in this. However, I will do my best to find out. It's kind of been the thing with this. Actually, you know, it's been almost an entire year since I started trying to research brushes and find out more about them. Did you know that? Did you know that I did that? Well, I do that. All because I made a post on Facebook and no one could give me a single coherent answer. So I decided to learn about these myself, and then I started reviewing them. So that's how we got here. So thank you for failing me, and you're welcome for me trying to not fail you. Or, well, I might add that back. I don't know. It's definitely been a fun ride. Slightly expensive at times because some of these brushes are like pretty up there, especially when you get into shipping from other countries. So I think we're good on this one, right? I don't know. We'll see. Well, if you're still here watching this, then hopefully you have a better idea what to do with these. And if you don't, well, watch it again, I guess. Go ahead. Do it. I'll let you. You can watch it like 5 times if that'll help. Yeah, it might be weird. Anyways, till the next video, stay moist, my friends.